Marcy, so if we could make sure everybody that's on Zoom is getting the experience. This will be recorded and we'll be posting this in our Facebook group immediately following today's call. I'm going to position this call as the Mortgage Coach Rockstar call, because not to say Todd Booksman's not a rock star, but Todd, Michelle, and Jen are not here today. And I invited just people that I just think are rock stars in our community. So we got Kevin Watson. What's up, Kevin, out of Nashville?
Hey there. How are y'all?
Good. You know, I don't have you enough in the community enough, Kevin. We need to make sure we do this more often.
I'm cranking out TCAs. So
how many TCAs have you done? How many have you done this week, you think?
Oh my goodness. Monday I didn't even eat. I just did it all day long. So I don't know. I really don't.
It's too many to count.
A lot.
Right on.
Yeah.
We've got Katie Pastor. She's actually on. Where are you at, by the way, Katie? Are you in Tahoe?
I'm in Lake Tahoe. Yeah.
Right on. And
beautiful.
She's making time for the Mortgage Coach community.
And my TCAs. I got 5 on the list for today.
5 on the list for today. How many have you done for the week?
You know, I reflect back on the week every Sunday, so I don't know where I'm at, but I've been averaging probably 3 to 5 a day. So,
Nice.
So today I've got 5, and then we'll wrap it up and call it a little long weekend. Good.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your reports because I know you're playing the 30-10 game. And so look forward to having you post that. I'm rooting for you to win, although there's a number of great rock stars winning. We've got Scott Nicholson on today's call, Mr. Mortgage Strategy Guru. What's up, Scott?
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for making it.
Yeah.
And then we have marketing guru Robert Stover, who last year also had one of the well, it wasn't last year. I think it was 2017. He had one of the 10 most viewed interviews. What's up, Stover?
How's it going?
Going good. Hey, so Robert, I'm going to bring you in probably about 20 minutes into the call. I want you to think of yourself as you're just like the resident marketing expert, although I know part of what you and I want to do on this call is help you prepare for a training you're doing with Dan Keller in a couple weeks. So we'll bring you in about 20 minutes into it, but I want you to think, like, when you hear us talking, if there's anything we could be doing from a marketing perspective better or anything from a messaging better, if you could kind of call that out when I bring you in.
All right.
Okay. So let's do this. There's 3 categories to today's call or topics. There's spring home buying mortgage strategies. There's the 30-10 contest, which really just comes down to, are you making 30 prospecting calls a day and creating 10 TCAs a week? And if the answer is no, that's okay, but what are your goals? So it's going to be, think of it as, I've got my prospecting and my sales process goals, and we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to wrap up the call with sales scripts. And I do want to give everybody a heads up that in our Facebook group, posted at the top, there's a post that talks about the Mortgage Coach script playbook. That's a draft of what we're working on, and that will be the 3rd category of today's conversations. So first, let's do mortgage strategies. And I'm going to just kind of go down the list. And then, Kevin, I want to have you do one of yours in a minute. But, Katie, let's start with you. Just off the top of your head, what do you think the top 2 or 3 mortgage strategies are in today's spring home buying season?
Yeah, so my strategies have been really, this year I've been focusing on more my database. And I talked about this a little bit on Tuesday's call, but not only are we focusing on people that are, wanting to buy this spring season, and most of the time those leads are coming from, realtor partners or, other lead sources, but it's really just, again, focusing on my database, checking in with them to figure out where are you at, because it's surprising how many people end up selling within, the first 2 years from when they purchased. So most of my calling strategy is around my database on top of obviously new leads coming in. And some of those topics that those things that I'm covering in those conversations is, what's going on with the market, interest rates, where are interest rates, why is now a good time to buy, all of those things to help people get into those conversations about buying now.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to show, you're seeing my computer right now, and I'm showing a post that I did this morning saying, what mortgage strategies do you think are most valuable in today's marketplace? So one ask is everybody vote, and you can vote for more than one. What are the strategies that are most valuable to you? And Katie, just based on the fact that you're working your database and you're calling people, I'm sure things like rate and term refi, term
Yep.
reduction refi, move up,
Yep.
you're looking for move up buyers. So if you could check this, but that's what Katie's answer is. Scott Nicholson, let's have you go next. What are some of the spring home buying strategies you're most focused on? Scott, we don't hear you. It might be muted.
Sorry, muted. Really twofold is as we start to thaw out and the market's moving, and a lot of people don't know this because I don't talk about this much. My core business is renovation. I do a lot of renovation, probably 70% of my business. So getting out there in that distressed asset, holding an open house in that distressed asset, educating buyers that the turnkey is not the only opportunity out there. It dovetails nicely with the seller buy down. I use that in multiple facets. Like you just said, move up. Seller buy down works really well in move up of showing a consumer who has X amount of equity fixed in today's market, how we can move up with just that much. So say it's only 15% or 20%, I can get them a payment and move up and get them qualified that way. So it's multiple prongs. It's renovation and the buy down.
Got it. So if you could make sure, add the renovation, because that's not a category right now. I'd like to, so if you don't mind adding that to this survey, and then doing the seller buy down. So I think it's not next week. Next week, I'm going to be interviewing the CEO of Social Survey on how to make the most of online reviews, how to get them, how to market them, why that's important and how to do it. But the following week is going to be the spring mortgage strategy call. And this call is, think of it as almost like prep. We're spitballing, we're riffing. That Tuesday call will literally be, here are the best practice, here are the best strategies. And what I'm kind of taking from what you're saying, Scott, is while nobody has checked it yet, you think it's literally one of the most important strategies in spring home buying, and just people just don't know it. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
No question. And everyone, well, I mean, yeah. I'm biased, but yes.
Okay. Well, you're gonna get a chance to make your case, and maybe we'll even have a little time for that in the call. So Kevin Watson, I know you have a live total cost analysis to do. So we're gonna get the gold out of you, and then you can stay as long as you want, or you can jump. But what are your top strategies?
Well, the number one thing that I've been doing lately and coaching our loan officers to do is really the RVO, the rent versus own analysis. Right now, we're just finding that millennials are still renting, and quite frankly, renting for much more than they could buy a home for and what their mortgage would end up being. So we're first going to our realtors and educating them on how an RVO works and showing them that, and then educating them on how to educate their millennial buyers who are looking at buying for the first time, and teaching them how buying a home is an asset leverage first, and then it's a tax break second, and then it's an inflation hedge where 100% of their rent is affected by inflation, right? In some markets, I know in our market, it can be as much as a 10% increase a year on rent, because Nashville's a hot area, and but it could be an average of 3 to 6%. Over time, that $1,500 rent in 5 years is $1,750. Where on a 30-year fixed mortgage, only about 15% of their payment is affected by inflation. So we're trying to educate them, and then we're using the Mortgage Coach RVO to show them and prove to them through the numbers, and just let the numbers talk, so we don't really have to do a lot of selling. We just show them the numbers. I had one this week that I talked to a friend of mine and she was renting for about $1,700 a month. And we were talking, and I said, you really should look at buying. She's thinking about starting her own business. And I said, especially before you do that, you need to go ahead and get into something, because you're about to have a period of time that you may not be able to buy something for a little while, at least on the terms that we can give you right now. So we looked at an RVO for her last night, and she said, I had no idea I could do this, because I didn't think I had enough money for the down payment. I showed her a bond program. She didn't have to use any down payment, and we could probably talk the seller into paying the closing costs, so she can get in for very little. So it's just really educating them, and a lot of them still are out there thinking they have to have a big down payment.
So let's do two things. And Robert, I'm going to bring you in right after Kevin and have you, like, hey, Kevin, this is what I liked. And Kevin, this is something to think about. So
Yeah.
Kevin, let's do two things. I literally want you to give your opening script, because, most loan officers say, hey, I've got great rates. I've closed loans fast. I can get anybody qualified. I mean, you have a different way that you open that conversation. So I want to get your 30-second, no longer than a minute, kind of elevator pitch if you were meeting with a first-time home buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want you to, how do you pre-frame the rep versus own, so that when you start showing it to them or when you email it to them, they're like, oh. And then I want you to share your screen, and I want you to walk us through a rep versus own. So we're getting the Kevin Watson experience. And then Stover's he's either going to beat you up, or he's going to give you some fine tuning.
Yeah. Well, feel free to beat me up. I'll need a lot of it.
Okay. So what's the elevator pitch?
I'm here to learn, guys.
Constructive criticism is good. My entry to talking to a customer a lot of times is going to be different depending on where I meet them, how I know them. We really feel that our niche at Churchill Mortgage is the personal touch. So we really try to meet with every one of our clients in person if we can. And of course, we have out-of-state clients that we can't do that with. But that's really, honestly, my secret sauce is just meeting with them in person. So when I meet with them in person, a great example I had the other day, a guy that I work out with, one of my coaches, they're about to get married. He's renting for $1,500. And I said, your rent is $1,500. Why don't I work up a rent versus own and show you what you could afford? Just real simple. I'm a University of Alabama grad, so I'm a very simple guy. Okay. Real simple. And I just, come to him and say, why don't I just work up an analysis? And then when I work it up, I try to get them both in person if I can. And I just review the analysis with them, and I educate them on those 3 reasons why you buy a home. It's an asset leverage, a tax break, and an inflation hedge. And I just let the numbers talk and let them understand fully what the payments would be, what the breaks would be, and what their savings would be, and how to actually create wealth. We find that a lot of people look at their assets. They have asset managers, but there's not many debt managers, and this is the largest debt they have. And we feel it's really important to be able to manage their debt better and create wealth faster by doing that.
So you I don't know if you realize it, but you said a lot of magic, powerful things that I know is different than the average loan officer. So, for anybody listening to that, I would write down some of that. I'd fine tune some of your scripting. And while it might have been simple, might have been from the heart, it's very attractive. And it's certainly a lot more important than I got great rates and I can close your loan in 14 days. So why don't you share your desktop right now? Okay. And let's just do like 3 more minutes of you, kind of giving us the high level on this total cost analysis. And if you could start by just giving us a minute, like what was the story, the family story here, and then walk us through the strategy.
Okay, let me see.
We see it. And
you can see it?
We see it. Man.
Okay, great. So again, this is the customer that was going to rent for $1,500. So when I go through this with a customer, I'll just start here at where they're renting. And I'll say, okay, you're renting for $1,500. I went ahead and put in your income and your tax bracket so we could get a full idea of what it would look like for you to buy a home versus continuing to rent. If we do this strategy, this is a bond program. So the great news is the great state of Tennessee has a certain amount of funds. And for your income level, we can actually get you qualified without having to put a down payment down. Now, if you work with a great realtor, which I can recommend to you, there's a lot of part-time realtors out there. I would recommend working with a full-time realtor that closes 5 to 7 homes every month versus one who closes 5 to 7 homes every year. And I can recommend one for you if you don't have one. But if you work with a great realtor, they can probably negotiate to even pay the closing costs for you so you can walk in with very little. It's very important that you have a reserve account, and we really like you to have about 6 months of cash set aside. So we don't want you to use that for your down payment and closing costs. We want you to have that for the Murphy moments when Murphy knocks on the door and has a water heater out, or you have a hole in your roof, or you have something that you're not aware of. So we want you to keep that cash. So we'd rather you do one of these programs if you can and keep the cash. So let's talk about a zero down program and seller paying closing costs. So when you're buying this home, or excuse me, when you're renting, you look at the tax benefits. Of course, there's zero tax benefit. I just highlighted that for you. Let me unhighlight the rest of this. There's zero benefit there, and there's zero principal paid except to the landlord. That you're paying down the principal for the landlord. So your net monthly benefit is $1,500. Okay, so let's use an example of doing the same thing but buying a home today where interest rates are still half price compared to history for $300,000. So here we are buying a home for $300,000. The down payment, like I said, is a bond program. So you're able to qualify to do that. You just have to take a little home buyer class, and that'll be good for you. It'll teach you a little bit. So when you go down to your payment, you're looking at about $2,025. Now I know you said you didn't want to go over $1,500, so that can be really shocking. But let's talk about this $2,025. That does include your taxes, your insurance, and your mortgage insurance on this loan, additionally to your principal and interest that's paid. But look at the next column down. Based on your income and your tax bracket, you're saving $272 a month of taxes monthly, okay? So what I would suggest to do is once we close, I'm going to make a call with you after your closing, and we're going to go to the irs.gov website. We're going to go to the withholding calculator, and we're going to calculate how many withholdings you need to add to your W-4 so you can change the amount of taxes that are taken out monthly for you. And that 2025 goes down to 1753. So your real out will be 1753. Now the next column is principal paid. Of course, you can't get that out immediately. That's like a forced savings account for you. That's going to build up over time, and later down the road, when you're wanting to move up in home, there's going to be more equity in that home. And I'm also going to coach you on how you can put more in there to beat the interest rate you actually have by paying the principal down. We'll talk about that later. So that $362 is your money, but of course you don't get that immediately every month. But it is a benefit to you. So when you take the tax benefit and the principal paid benefit in, it's really like you're renting for about $13.91. And then I'll ask at that point, does that make sense? Do you understand that? You still have to make the 2025, and we have to qualify you with that. But do you understand the breaks? So at that point, we go through the breaks. We talk about that. Then I say, now let's look at your tax benefits over 5 years. We go to the tax benefits in 60 months and show that you saved $15,300 over that 5-year period compared to rent. And then we talk about net worth. And I say, you know, if you were renting, which we know you're not going to be renting for the next 30 years, but if you were to do that, that same home that you bought, average appreciation across the United States in the last 40 years has been 5%. there's no way to time the market exactly. So I can't tell you that next year the market won't go down or go up, but I can tell you in 40 years, you're looking at about a 5% appreciation. So don't try to time the market and say, I'm going to wait until the market goes down before I buy, because there's just really no way to do that. So what I would urge you to do is get in immediately. And if you did that with an average of 5% appreciation, you've now built up to $1.29 million in value on your home. You know, over 80% of the nation's wealth is held in their equity, and this is how they do it. So that's pretty much what I do when I talk to them. I'll go a little deeper and I'll go into the more info, and I'll show them the payment breakdown and walk through that with them step by step so they understand exactly how the payment was derived. I'll also go to the closing costs, walk through that, and show them in the fee detail where the bond program is paying for their down payment and the seller is paying for their closing costs. So I'll go through that, and I'll pretty much ask them, do they fully understand how they're buying the home, and they understand their payments and what they're bringing to the closing. 9 times out of 10, I get a wow, this is great. I now understand. I didn't understand, or I was scared, and this is really helpful. What's the next step? What do I need to do next? And 9 times out of 10, I say go to the Start Now button at the top and fill in the application, and then my team will take care of you from here. That's pretty much what I do.
Well, I'm going to say what your customers always say, and that is, wow. That was awesome. You know, I got a few takeaways from that. I know every mortgage pro watching this, even people that have done 1,000 TCAs, got some good language, got some value. I noticed the video in the bottom right-hand corner.
Right.
You know, are you, even if people come into your office, are you still adding a video? And, you know, what are you saying? You know, just paraphrase what's in the video.
Well, I use that video different ways. This is a video that I actually posted on Facebook just to have this out there, and then I pointed my realtors to it so they could use it and share it. So it's one of the marketing generic ones. But what I'll do after, I'll do the live TCA in person or on the phone live with them together. But afterwards, I'll send them a thank you on the video with the TCA, maybe with an updated analysis, maybe adding, if you paid an extra $100, this is what you could do to save money. And at the end of every closing, we send them a video. Dave Ramsey is introducing it because we're endorsed by him. So we use him to say, congratulations on buying your new home. And here's a way that you can actually pay that down and beat the interest. And we send them a video that shows them their closed home that they just closed in the loan and how to pay an extra 50, 100, or 150 on there, and how it'll impact them over the life of the loan.
Yeah, that is such a huge strategy. Katie, we're going to have Stover go next, but I want you to, let you and I and Kevin speak about how you're kind of bringing value at the close. So Stover, I'm going to bring you in. Anything that you like about that? Any feedback you have that might make what Kevin's doing?
Yeah, no, I didn't like any of that. That was no, that was magical. What university, Kevin, did you mention there? It was University of
The University of Alabama.
So I scrolled out here. Shocking. University of Alabama grad shows millennials how to get their own home for the amount of rent they're paying now and earn $1 million in wealth.
Yes, exactly.
Boom. By the way, that's a headline, Kevin. Like, that should be your Facebook post.
I like that.
Shocking. University of Alabama grad.
Shocking.
So
we can do other things other than football.
So Dave, one of my themes coming on here today that I'm looking at is all these realtors are sitting on their databases, and it perplexes me that lenders that are so good at working their own databases using all the mortgage coach tools don't just tell the realtor, look, I'm going to take over your database and manage this for you. Because imagine all of the referrals and refis and home purchases and stuff that come out of your own database. Mm-hmm. Now look at a realtor with an equivalent database. Why wouldn't you be able to pull that same amount of revenue out of their databases.
Yeah.
And so this strategy is just, this goes to what my question was earlier. You know, if you could only share, we'll cover it in a minute, but just goes to power. If you can go to realtors and go, look, you're sitting on gold, and we have unique tools as lenders that you don't have as realtors, and you have tools as realtors we don't have as lenders. Let me help you pull these purchases out of your list. For example, goodness, in any given realtor's database, there's going to be folks that are older, that are homeowners whose kids are millennials. They're on social media, ton of millennials within their sphere. And if you go out and go, you know, I want to show millennials how for the rent they're paying right now, they could actually own their own home and create over $1 million in revenue. And my friend Kevin is going to come along. We're going to do a video together and show you guys this, and do a live Zoom feed or a stream or something into their list, or, you know what I mean? Reach out to their database and invite them to find out more. You know, if you're a millennial or you know millennial, this is going to be one of the most important videos, or one of the important lessons you ever hear. It'll impact your homeownership. It'll impact your wealth and so on. So there's just gold in here.
So let's do this, Kevin. If you don't mind, either if you could share a link to this total cost analysis in the Mortgage Coach Facebook group, and
Okay.
if you can't, I'll do it. And everybody who's on this, let's take from this. And I love Stover's idea. First of all, let's post it on Facebook with the Mortgage Coach link to one of your rep versus own. Kevin put a video on it, so I'm assuming this is you already did this, you know. And by the way, Kevin, the way you might want to do it, you might want to just go to your own website where you posted this and then share that into the group so we can kind of see how you did it. But let's play this forward, guys. I mean, every Mortgage Coach member, you have superpowers that average loan officers don't have. They are not able to net out an own, you know, buy versus rent the way you can. And then you have another advantage. We have the best loan officers in America that are part of this group. And you just heard, I mean, Kevin's not only one of the best loan officers in America, he's one of the best sales managers. How many loan officers do you mentor and lead within your branch?
We have about 30.
And so he's killing it as a producing leader, and then he's mentoring 30 loan officers. So you're in a community where someone like Kevin is showing you the goods. He's showing you how to do it. So you got the tool, you got the goods. Kevin, you will forward that? You're cool with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Hey, so feel free to stay on this call. I know you've got a Mortgage Coach live with someone in a few minutes.
Yeah, I got to jump off and go take care of them. But thank you for letting me be on here. Hey, I wanted to say one thing. You know, today is a special day, Good Friday. And, you know, all of us are very successful, but we're not here because we just got here by ourselves. And I just wanted to take a moment and thank you, Dave, because the Mortgage Coach and what you created and produced, it's really helped me to get here and to be able to help our loan officers. So I appreciate you, man.
Bro, I got goosebumps from that, man. Coming from you, that means a lot. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for you, brother. Woo. All right, man. I almost got a little tear. That's the thing about Kevin. I mean, he's not only an amazing mortgage professional, he's like an amazing human. You know, he'd be in the Mortgage Hall of Fame. He's in the Human Hall of Fame. So that was cool. So guys, let's play that together. Robert Stover, as I told everybody, is also doing an event with Dan Keller in Seattle in a couple weeks. And he's going to be doing an event. And I know you posted something in our Facebook group, and I would love for you to shine a light on that real quick, Robert. What did you post and why? And let's get people to add comments.
Yeah, it ties into the what I just talked with Kevin about, is that these realtors are sitting on all this opportunity that they have neither the tools nor knowledge to take advantage of. You as a loan officer can walk alongside of them. So my question was, if like with Dan's group, we're going to be teaching the realtors how to do really quick social media posts and videos and things like that. And then one of the mechanisms there is an interview. Like sit and interview a lender so they can bring more value to their own list and to their own reach. And so my question was, is with your guys' knowledge, looking at speed to deal and ease and believability, things like that, if you are going to be interviewed by a realtor and they're going to interview you for their list or for their database or on social media, what is the one tool or strategy or thing that you would want to be interviewed about that would have the highest probability of pulling deals out of the list?
Cool. So guys, there is a post. It's right here. I love the way you said, "Hey legends." Robert has a whole platform about how to turn you into a legend, how to create legendary success. But hey legends, I've got a question for you. I want your input. Guys, let's blow up his comments. Let's make sure we comment on this. If you are watching the recording of this on YouTube, go to the Mortgage Coach Facebook group. This will be pinned at the top for a few days, and let's answer the question. Robert, you were absolutely invited to be on this whole call, and I love the way you heard him talk, and you just netted out an awesome headline. So if you want to do that again, stay on the call and do that again. But I know if you got to jump, you feel free to also jump.
All
right. So Katie, I want to come back to you real quick. And then Scott, I'm bringing you in for the seller buy down and give some thoughts on it. But Katie, any takeaways that you had from what he shared? Anything that you thought was particularly on point?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How do I follow up after Kevin? He was amazing. Just everything about him. I really enjoyed and appreciated. And that's definitely an area that I need to focus on. I'm going to be transparent with everybody as my rent versus own. I mean, he totally knocked it out of the park, and that's a big takeaway for me and what I'm going to implement in my business. So thanks so much for sharing, Kevin. I know he's off the phone, but he certainly deserves a thank you card after that. And again, too, Dave, without your tools, our industry just wouldn't be professional. It wouldn't be what it is. Obviously, it's companies adopting these tools. Unfortunately, I work for a company that's all about Mortgage Coach, but it really does set us apart from everybody else. So again, kind of piggyback off of Kevin's thanks. Thank you for creating this, and also for this platform to share with top producers and in big rock stars. So thanks for being you, and
cool.
Thanks for all your support. So
well, I got it.
Yeah.
Well, before you go, and I want you to share how that thank you gift that you're giving after you close. But I want everybody, like, you watch Kevin. If you were going, if it was a first-time home buyer and you were going head-to-head with Kevin, who would win? I am sure there are a lot of people on this that are like, I hope my first-time home buyer doesn't talk to Kevin before me. And that should be the homework assignment for you. This is recorded. I might even edit that section out and make a separate, highlight to that. But you want to be able to at least compete with Kevin on a rent versus own. So make that a homework assignment. It's a huge market. It's a huge opportunity.
Yep.
So Katie, you were going to share an idea and a strategy that you're doing right now.
Yeah. Before I get into my strategy real quick and piggybacking off of what Robert was saying. So I notice a lot of times in the Facebook chat that a lot of people are asking, who do I call, especially new loan officers? And that strategy that Robert just said is, get with a realtor partner, especially if that realtor partner is buying any type of leads. They're not following up with their database. And that is really where you can add value to those realtor partners, is touching in with them. I've even set up some call parties with some realtors where we're together. They're knocking out calls. I'm knocking out calls with them. We're calling their database. They love it. And because I'm pouring into their growth in turn, they choose to work with me and give me their leads. So for any new loan officer, that's the best approach, is go after an agent who has got a database and offer to work that in conjunction with them or on your own. And again, they'll appreciate that. So going into my strategy. So I talked about this on Tuesday, and the strategy again is based around my database and pouring into the people that have already chosen to work with me. So, and adding value to those relationships, those closed relationships that I have. As I looked back on, how I'm going to differentiate myself and continue to add value and not be transactional, I've determined that I've got to continue to reach out to people with helpful information. And so I, was thinking about, well, what would I find helpful if I've just purchased a home within the last year? How can a loan officer add value? So after giving that some thought, everybody wants to know how they can pay off their home quicker, right? Or how they can pay it off as quickly as possible. So I follow up within 30 to 45 days after they close escrow. I give them basically introduce the concept of the biweekly mortgage payments. I introduce the concept when I go to their signing. And I introduce it, and most of the time at that point, they're so overwhelmed with information at that point. Then I let them know that I'm going to be following up with them in 30 to 45 days after they close with some more information about how to get it set up. So when I make those calls, I introduce, again, the biweekly, or I go into it in detail. I give them the steps and the instructions on how to set it up. So they're going to contact their servicer. They have to be one payment ahead. And how I tie Mortgage Coach into that is I'm sending them an updated amortization schedule, showing them overall how much interest they're going to save and how quickly they'll have that mortgage paid off. So if they're taking let's say a 30-year fix, they started with a 30-year fix, rather than making their regular monthly payments, they're setting up their biweekly, and I show them that amortization schedule with them having it paid off in 23 years after setting up that biweekly payment strategy.
Love
that was
that.
A lot of info.
No, but it's, and you heard Kevin, guys. In Churchill, they have it automated. So after the close of escrow, they're putting a 15-year mortgage in one column and they're putting a prepaid mortgage in the other column. I mean, at the end of the day, you are showing up and saying, I care about you as more than a transaction. Mm-hmm. I want to help you build wealth with real estate. And you're not telling people that, you're showing people mm-hmm. that. Mm-hmm. And so, and that's, that's one of the superpowers of Mortgage Coach. There's the art and science of success. The art is you. It's your energy. Like, how Kevin put that thank you at the end? And I mean, Kitty was thanking me, so I almost teared up. But that was his art. I mean, the way he showed up as a human being, the way he was present, the way he connected, it's the art of Kevin Watson. But then the science, it's the TCA, it's the showing the prepayment strategies. It's what Katie's doing. It's sending something that analytically, logically has value to the customer after they close. So I love that, Katie. We're getting lots of play in the Facebook group. So if you're in Mortgage Coach Facebook Live, keep asking questions, keep the conversations going. I love that, Katie.
Thanks.
If you could I know people are going to ask for it, but if you could just share, a sample of that in the group, so at least people who want to nerd out on that can have a better idea of what you're doing. And I know you're on vacation. Feel free to do it, Tuesday of next week. But
thank you.
Make sure we get that in the community sometime next week. You cool with that?
I sure will. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
another thing too that let me just so it's one thing, again, to follow up within 30 to 45 days. In addition to that, following up in 6 months or 12 months, however you choose to follow up, it gives me another reason for me to have the conversation about maybe it's debt consolidation. And that's a big thing that I'm noticing right now. I've got more refis in my pipeline today than I've ever had. And the majority, if not all of those refis, are doing some debt consolidation. They're taking out some of their equity, they're paying off some of their debt. I noticed that was one of the questions in the Facebook poll. So that's certainly something that I can share as a TCA on debt consolidation. That's big right now. Consumer debt, I think, is at an all-time high in I don't know how many years. So that's certainly something that we should be leveraging and looking for opportunities to help those people, especially while rates are still low.
Love that. And I want to also shine a light. I did a post yesterday because so much of it has to do with your scripting, and I did this post, how do you pre-frame your total cost analysis? And part of why I actually, even though we didn't talk about it that much, Katie, you responded to this poll question with how you pre-frame it. Here it is right here. If you could just say it out loud real quick, and you don't have to read this. If you say it differently, it's fine. But before you give the family the total cost analysis, what do you say so that it's like they're looking forward to it, it has value? Give us one script, and then Scott will bring you in less than 5 minutes, and you'll have the rest of the call, brother.
Yeah. So my script is purchasing a home is one of the largest financial decisions you and your family most likely are ever going to make. And my team is here to assist you with your different loan options and guide you through this process that sometimes is going to feel overwhelming. Once we have a better understanding of what your plans are for the purchase or refinance, obviously it depends on what they're doing, we'll provide you with the different options that align with your goals. I'll be sending you a detailed email with a link that's safe to click on. And in that link, you're going to see some different options, again, based off whatever your goals are. Then we'll set up a phone conversation or a face-to-face meeting, and we can talk about, I can answer any questions, and we can talk about those different options in more detail.
Love it. So folks, if you want to learn more from Katie, I've interviewed her multiple times. She was one of the rock stars in Scriptapalooza this year. Since Katie got back in the mortgage business last year, she did over 100 loans. She did over 40 million in production. She's killing it. Hopefully you're going to be on stage at Sales Mastery this year, Katie.
Hey, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. but there's a few more interviews that I've done. Just the way she's high touch, high tech to me is, like if you had a picture of who's the modern mortgage professional, Katie Pastor, you were definitely crushing it.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks again for the technology too, because like I said, without it, I just wouldn't be, as professional as a spreadsheet.
Yeah, no worries. Well, hey, feel free to stay on it. I want to bring Scott Nicholson back in. Before I do that, Stover, any feedback for Katie? You got any magic tricks, any headlines for any of her content?
No, she's doing awesome. She's doing awesome. The one thing I was going to comment is I did a video for like she mentioned is going and working with the realtors, and I'm just like stunned that more originators don't do this. And I did that video on how they could approach. Remember the video on how they could approach, show the realtor how much money is sitting in their database and that they'd help them manage it for them. But for anybody else listening that goes like, oh, I'd like to approach realtors with this kind of strategy, that's one of many approaches they can take.
And Stover, do you remember the name of that? Because I just searched your name on our Facebook group. We did a marketing jam session. Oh, here we go. How to Create Videos That Generate Referrals by Robert Stover.
That's not the one. Dave, could you check a link for me? My system shut me down. robertstover.com/referral.
Robert, let's check it out, everybody. robertstover.com/referral. Not plural, right?
Right, just referral.
All right.
Did anything pop up? I can't even see my own site.
All right. Oh, there's some goods there, guys. So go to robertstover.com/referral. And is that where it is?
I think so.
Okay. So guys, check that out. Again, Robert Stover has been, a mentor of mine forever. I've hired him over the years. I've paid him over $100,000. Todd Duncan has consulted with him. Tom Ferry has consulted with him. I could go on with the list of, leaders in the industry that consult with Stover. I mean, he's like the guru's guru. And now Dan Keller's doing some big stuff. So check it out. Check out his robertstover.com/referral. Check out one of our interviews.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's there or not, the video. If not, I'll get it to people. Dave, I'm just...
let's do this. By Tuesday, you're going to get it in the Mortgage Coach group. We'll put a link in the Mortgage Coach group where you guys can get the video that Robert's talking about.
So I had agents that LOs that have been in the business 3 weeks call me and go, oh, I used that pitch you did, and now these realtors are giving me access to their databases.
Boom. Okay, we got to get that in here. And Stover, I might need to bring you back next Friday to talk about that again.
Yeah.
All right. So Scott, you know, I'm going to try to pull some scripting out of this, but, you know, I want to make sure we talk about seller buy down. We're going to go into this in more detail in 2 weeks, so we don't need to bake the cake here. But I do want to make sure that the loan officers that are using the seller buy down, we're getting some content. So why don't you make the case real quick? Spring home buying season, why the seller buy down, and then I'm going to try to pull a script out of you within this conversation.
Yep. Let me do one thing. Am I your first guest ever to be broadcasting live from my garage?
Yeah. I don't know.
I got in-laws.
Steve Sims
had a garage before.
I got in-laws in town, and my house is packed, and I'm not going to the office.
I love that. Good job, buddy.
Let me go to Robert real quick. I actually like what he was doing there. And so think of creating a video back for those agents for their databases. So imagine 2 videos. So I like it because I'm going to use it. So the 2 videos I'm going to create is one's a renovation video, and I'm going to educate my agents or database who I don't know yet on what a renovation loan can do and so on. We can list the property as is, even with all the deferred and this and that and this. The second video I'm going to create for Robert or the agent is a seller buy down video. Because think of this, as Katie just paid off all of the debt through the debt consolidation refi, there's less equity position in the home. So the seller buy down works well with that client because we have a less equity position and they're trying to move up and out, right? So the buy down works great, and I'm going to refer to the videos I gave to the community a couple weeks back and exactly what happened. So I have less equity. Let's say I'm down from 20%. Katie used 5 to pay off debt. I have 15%. I want to move up. So I'm going to show them a seller buy down TCA, how we can still buy that property with less money, right? And so let me go back to the video and the scripting. So I got a call. It's my escrow officer going, Scott, I need your help. Made the intro to an agent. So we sat down and I go, well, tell me a little about what's going on. So he has a listing that's not moving. All right. So tell me why. The reasons why was, number one, it's been there for 3 weeks. Price point, the comps are fine, but the price point's maybe a little bit high for the area. So we have some affordability issues, right? Second thing is there's no garage. In that community, about every third house in that build, they put no garages on them. So there's my second problem. But where my biggest problem lied, they're in escrow on an up-leg transaction, and here's the exact words, Scott. So I asked him, tell me about the up-leg now. He wants 20% down because he thinks that's the only way to get rid of mortgage insurance, PMI. Number 2, he wants to hold back $20,000 for a small fix-up rental project for the new property. So I have 20/20. Basically, I'm dealing with the up leg. That's the clog. So what I did is I did the buy down. I showed him to do a 15% down mortgage. We use concessions from the seller. I have the exact same payment as if we put 20% down, but we did it for $31,000 less in cash to close. So what I got is I got the up leg solved. I saved $31,000 in less cash to close. I still allotted $20,000 for his rental budget, but guess where we took the $31,000? We took it back to his listing, and now we implemented a buy down on his listing. I only used 67 or something on that. So we're marketing his listing with the excess money I generated from his up leg purchase.
So, by the way, you have a total cost analysis in front of you right now? Because you're like throwing out some numbers that are like, how did you get all that?
Well, if you go to your in the community, I put that in there. So if you search,
well, could you either
I'll repost it.
Do it in comments of this call that we're doing right now.
Right.
Repost that TCI. And by the way, if you have it right now, just post it and let us click on it so we can. Or share your desktop. Show us this TCA and then post a link afterwards. And then I saw Stover writing down some stuff, so I have a feeling that marketing guru, headline specialist Robert Stover might actually have a headline gift for us.
Not a headline. So I don't know. 2 years ago, I talked to a rental loan guy, And we did end up not doing anything together, but I had scrawled out, and at that time we were under 2 renos. Our personal home had a slab leak, and we were living in a hotel, and our condo that we were putting up for sale, the renters had flooded it, and it flooded the entire condo and the neighbors below. So we're going through that. So guess what we're watching a lot of? We're sitting in the hotel, HGTV, right? And we're watching all these renos, and my wife kept asking, where are they getting the money to do this? And so I've always thought that if I were marketing reno guys in ads and in, for example, going after a realtor's database or something, that is the question that would be my headline. You watch HGTV and you see these amazing renovations people do. Where do they get the money to do that? Here's the dirty little secret, right? Or here's the truth about how it happens. Or I'm the guy that does that. Let me show you.
Love that. So it looks like for everybody that's got a YouTube channel, and if you are a mortgage pro and you want to be the digital mayor of the city that you live in, you probably should be using Facebook. You should probably have a professional LinkedIn profile. And yes, you should use YouTube. So there's a YouTube channel. And then to your point, Robert, there is what a great idea with realtors. Use that concept, create a TCA, have a campaign to go out to everybody and talk about renos. And you'll probably get some people that want to list their homes. You'll probably get some people that want to meet with you to do a reno. You'll probably get some people that want to do a reno, but they end up getting a debt consol loan. Guys, huge campaign.
Yep. Here's your script for your first-time home buyers spring season. So, Dave, after pre-qualing you now, I understand the traditional. I write 2 types of paper, Dave. I write the A paper, so we can go find a traditional home that's turnkey, and we can write great A paper on that. But also, Dave, through your knowledge of what we taught you, is I can write a reno loan. So we can go ahead and find any type of asset in any condition, either good or bad. So we've opened up the inventory for you to write offers. So what happens there is if it's a reno client, I'm going to convert them to an A paper client, or if it's an A paper client, I add the reno speech to it. So I have them covered on both sides.
That's crazy. So by the way, Jeremy Forcier is watching this. And Jeremy, I think you're, judging from Facebook, you're on a Hawaii holiday with your family. My guess is Jeremy's on the beach right now, and he's kind of like undercover on Facebook Live, got his like wired cordless headset on the beach, checking it out. So what's up, Jeremy? Thank you for the president nomination, but I pass. Don't want to be president, but I am working hard to make mortgages cool and mortgages profitable for the mortgage coach community. That's what I'm trying to do here. So Scott, that was huge. I have a feeling Katie is getting some takeaways from this last little session. So Katie, we got 5 more minutes. Let's just you, me, Robert, kind of net this out for everybody. But what are your takeaways? You're on mute, Katie.
Hey, yeah, sorry. I got a little distracted because I had a little dog behind me that was giving me a lot of attention. So I apologize. I wasn't totally engaged. But yeah, so yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, so Katie missed it. That's okay, Katie. So Stover, looks you and Katie, I will have to tell you, you need to re-listen to the recording of that.
Yeah.
Scott gave some really good ideas on how to use the seller buy down.
Yeah.
So Stover and Scott, let's net this out. Action items, 2 videos. So Katie's listening now. What are the 2 videos you're going to do, Scott?
I'm going to show the move up. I think that's what I'm doing, right?
Yeah, well, it was your idea. I'm not telling you what to do.
So I told the story of the agent I referred to, and I unclogged the drain, so to speak, because I went up to his up leg and I freed up money. Then I brought that savings back to his current listing, and now it's moving. So I'm going to show that whole scenario and how that all played out.
Okay, so guys, we got a rent versus own video. I mean, we have fire hosed you. It is Easter weekend, so hopefully you don't forget everything. What I would recommend that you do is that you schedule some jam sessions for next week. Take good enough personal note that you know what you need to do, but then schedule that for next Tuesday and Wednesday. If you're using the Win by Noon planner, you should, like right now, go to next week, write down the things that you're going to do in Win by Noon next week, so you're booking to your day. Stover, you know, in these last 3 minutes, any like marketing takeaways for the community?
One on that video link, I have to get it to you. I finally got my resources working, and I had taken that down a while ago, so I'll repost it into the group for people that want to look at that. And all of you are doing some different things than I did in that, so you can add it to it, modify it, things like that for opening up new realtor relationships. It's a great way for somebody that already has an existing realtor or existing lender they've got a real tight relationship in to just go right into their database and go, cool, you give all those loans to them that you're already getting, and I'll take these loans. And they're like, oh, wow. So we'll get that up for the group.
Okay. And my closing thought for everybody, I really have two closing thoughts. One, if you did get value from this call and you're watching it, you know, in Facebook, give us a like, you know, at least like it. And then I would love it to know what was your number one takeaway. You know, I mean, there was 5, maybe 10 takeaways that you could have had. But what was the one thing that you took from this call that you're going to do next week? And just share that, you know, however you write it in Win by Noon, however you schedule it, write it. And, you know, if you didn't get a takeaway, if you're not going to do something for this call, no worries, don't comment. But if you did get a takeaway and you are going to do something, put a comment down below. Let us know what that one thing is that you're going to do. And then, you know, I got a few thank yous today. You know, really, thank you. You know, this mortgage coach community, you know, is a blast for me. The people that we have are like the greatest mortgage people on the planet. And then I've been in the mortgage business my whole career, and I just like mortgage people. You know, we're crazy, we're fun, we're hardworking, and we solve a lot of problems for people. So thank you for showing up and bringing value. Katie, special thank you for being here on your holiday. Tell Dan, you know, what's up.
Thanks for having me. I sure will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Stover, thanks for jumping on last minute and being the marketing guru. And then I know you and I are going to do more, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Seattle in a week with Dan Keller. And then Scott Nicholson, you and I have a lot to do in seller buy down land. It sounds like we need to educate the community on why seller buy down is a spring home buying strategy, because I don't think the community knows why.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, this call is a wrap. Give us a like, give us a comment. Have an awesome holiday weekend, and take care, y'all.
Thanks, guys.